Today we're reviewing Fanatical's All-Star Bundle. We're going to do the first 5 games in the bundle I chose. So let's get to it. Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Adrian Reddix, and today we're reviewing Fanatical's All-Star Bundle. If you're not familiar with the All-Star Bundle, Fanatical sometimes have these bundles where they have a certain number of games. You can pick however many games you want at different price tiers. For this bundle, there's 19 games, and for $4.99, you can pick 10 of these games, any 10 of these games that you want, and make your own bundle. So that's what we're going to do today. This is going to be the first 5 games in the bundle that I chose. Next week, it's going to be the next 5. Unlike a lot of the mystery bundles that we've done, we know exactly what games we're getting. It's not a surprise. And for the next 4 weeks, we're going to do all game bundles. It's going to be 2 bundles split up into 4 weeks. So let's get started with our first game. The first game is a game called 911 Operator. This is a game where you play as a 911 operator. Okay, you go through all the things that a 911 operator would go through. So, quick story. When I was at the radio station I used to work at, I was more like a contractor. The station manager at the time, his name was Tommy Parker. He was an old wrestler, old wrestling promoter, just an old radio guy. And he came up with the idea, or not the idea, but he came up with trying to spotlight 911 operators as far as, you know, showing appreciation, because 911 Operators Week or 911 Dispatchers Week is like, I think, the second week in April. And I didn't really understand it. I'm like, well, what's so significant about being a 911 operator? They just take a call and send people there. And from what he was telling me is the 911 operator is just as crucial as the police officer, the firefighter, the EMT, and other first responders. But unlike those groups of people, the 911 operator has all the mental and emotional stress that the other first responders have, but they don't have the resolution that they have. So a lot of times people call 911 operators on the worst day of their lives. The worst day of their lives. And you hear them screaming, or you hear just some of the worst things. And unlike, you know, whenever the officer or whenever the firefighter or whenever the EMT gets there, they had the resolution. What happened to this person? You know, took them to the hospital, or did they pass away there, or was it resolved? Or they don't have that same resolution. And that's why the turnover rate is so high in 911 operators. I say all that to say this, that some of those same stresses and some of those same things that unresolved still happen in this game. It's so lifelike. You know, I interviewed a couple 911 operators when I was at the radio station, and they were saying the same thing. So you have this panel. So you start off the game, and you can strategically put your vehicles all over the map. So I started playing off in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And after a game or two, it said, we see that you're close to Jackson, Mississippi, which, you know, I am in central Mississippi. And it was like, you can play in Jackson. I was like, okay, well, let's play. So you could play, they said, any city in the U.S. I think it's any major city. And you dispatch people to calls. You have incidents that pop up, and you have phone calls that come in. The phone calls that come in can get repetitive. But when the incidents that just pop up and you have to dispatch people there, that's what spices the game up. That's what makes the games different from gameplay to gameplay. So you can put different vehicles on the road. You have 3 different types of vehicles. You got police, fire, EMT. Of course, you have different types of capacities. You have helicopters you can dispatch. And you can see, especially in Jackson, you can see how not having a equitable distribution of hospitals kind of puts a bigger wait time between somebody needing help and actually getting the help. I mean, it's a very interesting game. I found that of the 5 games I played for this part, I spent the most time. Usually I only spend about 30 to 40 minutes on the game. I spent about 3 hours playing this game. It is that interesting because you have a simulation aspect to the game, but you also have like a management type of aspect because you got to manage who gets on your vehicles, if they're sick or if they're hurt, or even sometimes if they die, that you got to replace them. And that's another stress that happens in the 911 operator community. If somebody dies, as far as a first responder, did I give them enough help, or did I get enough information from the person that was calling in so they could have all the information they needed, and if they got ambushed or something like that. So you have all these stressors that are still there and all these unresolved things that are still there. I mean, it's a really good game. On Steam, 911 Operator got a 9 out of 10. And the cost was $14.99. So hey, one game where you're already in value territory. I like it. I don't think we're doing the Adrians from the video before. You know what? We're gonna do the Adrians. This gets a 4. This gets 4 out of 5 Adrians. We'll go ahead and put that right there. The next game. The next game is a game called Hob. Hob is a puzzle action adventure game. You start off as this machine person, I guess, and you're following this other big machine around. Okay, so starting off, this game has no words. It has no audible or real language. It's just a bunch of sounds. And so you have to, it's a very visual game. So you start off in the prologue learning how to navigate the world. That being said, this game is not optimized for a keyboard and mouse. That's how I played it, and it's not optimized. You definitely need a controller. So when I got my controller, it made things a lot easier. If you don't know how to navigate a game and you don't have that instinct of playing games and what to do, then this game is gonna help you through that. So you get through how to jump, how to interact with the world, and then you see this big giraffe thing and play with it, and then your arm gets sucked in by this purple goo, and I guess it's poisonous of some type, because the other big robot you're with comes off and chops your arm off, and then takes his arm and puts it on you. So now you have this arm that has special abilities, and then you go through learning how to use this arm. This game, as far as how it moved and some of the stylistic choices, reminded me of a game I used to love playing when I was growing up called Jak and Daxter. I think it's a PlayStation only game. Just the how you interact with the world, how you defeat your enemies. I mean, there's no guns in this like Jak and Daxter, but it's still a really, really good game. The art style, again, it's something that reminds me of Jak and Daxter, and I really like that game. And the art style, I believe it's cool, and yeah. On Steam, this game got a 9 out of 10. The cost is $19.99. And I'm giving it another 4 out of 5 Adrians. Yeah, you like that. You do. The next game. The next game is a game called Car Mechanic Simulator 2015. Everybody has a game. So police, you can play a game as a police officer. You could play a game as a superhero. You could play games as a soldier. So why can't you play a game as a mechanic? I mean, mechanics we need all the time. I mean, they're a very vital part of the economy or just the community. You know, why can't mechanics have a game? And this is what it is. You are a car mechanic. You have your own garage and you simulate fixing cars. In the beginning, you're more of a parts changer. You just, you know, customer comes in or that you get a phone call saying, hey, I need new brakes. And you would go through the whole process. And when I say you go through the process, you go through the process. So you have to take the wheel off, lug by lug. Then you have to take the brake caliper off and then put the brakes on. Or if it's something like a steering knuckle, if you're familiar with what that is, you have to take all these different parts off just to get to it. It's not like you just click on it, replace it, bam, it's done. You have to click on it, undo the bolts or the nuts, and then take it off. And it's it seems like it's a very benign game. I'm not even gonna lie to you on that one. But if you're into cars and you're a car enthusiast and you like to, or you just don't want to get out there and sweat and have to deal with rust and oil or anything like that and still want to feel like you're accomplishing things, it's a good simulation on people who love cars and love to work on things. And at first I thought it was like, who would want to play a game about being a car mechanic? But the more I played it, because my father-in-law is a mechanic, the more I saw the utility of the game. Some games aren't about action, and some games aren't about, you know, some puzzles. Sometimes people, and this is a lot of simmers, they want to get in there and simulate real life and just go through the motions of doing something that on the surface may be not as interesting, but I mean, you have people who do this in real life who get get a lot of enjoyment from their work. And once you look at it from that lens, you can see that the Car Mechanic Simulator is a really good and is a really informative game because it gives you an overall picture of what an actual car mechanic goes through. It's not just, you know, super easy job, pop something on, pop something off, you know. And then once you get more into it, now you get into diagnostics. You know, people come in, hey, my car isn't doing this. Now you got to put a scan tool on it. Now you get into the whole being a mechanic. You know, it's not just a parts change anymore. You're actually doing real work now. So once you get into that and get into that aspect of it, it's a really fun game. On Steam, this game got a 9 out of 10. These are a lot of highly rated games on Steam, and the cost is $19.99. And I'm gonna give it 3.5 Adrians. Man, it's a pretty good game. I like it. The next game is a game called Blood Fresh Supply. Now, if you're of my age, you'll know that this is a remake of a game from the mid-90s. I think it's like 97, 98, around that time. And what they did was, here's the thing about a lot of retro gaming. A lot of retro gaming, if you try to play it on a modern system, it either doesn't play or it breaks. You know, it'll start working and it'll just stop. And what the makers, I think it's Canucks or whatever, the people who remade this game, what they did was they took it and they put it on a different engine and they optimized it to be able to play today. And the reason you could tell an optimized game, if you remember in a couple of videos that I had to take some of these retro games and kind of tweak them a little bit to make them work on a system. The big thing is whenever your computer wants to play it full screen and it blows the resolution up, these games weren't made to be played in that high of a resolution, and the game doesn't know what to do, and it just defaults to crash. And that's why you have to go through and put and make the gameplay on a Windows, so it's a smaller aspect ratio, but that's neither here nor there. But retro gaming is hard sometimes because if you can't find the hardware and you can't find the software, then you're pretty much out of luck, because sometimes hardware and software, are very hard to come by. But Fresh Blood Supply, Blood Fresh Supply, does that. And what this game is, it's a Doom-like game where you're this couple in the beginning. I guess the devil or some type of overlord comes and he kills you, and so you get resurrected. And now you're going to seek revenge, I guess. So you start off with a pitchfork and you're going through and you're killing, like, the game has zombies and druids, and it's a very Doom-esque, a very 1990s first-person shooter. I liked it. It's a real fun game, and it gets you, if you're into that retro 90s look and gameplay, it's a really, really good remaster or remake of this game. On Steam, this game got 9 out of 10, and the cost is $9.99. The last game of this video is a game called Original Journey. Original Journey is kind of a monochrome rogue-like. It has some rogue-like elements to it. Adventure game. You play this race of aliens called the Otto, and you're this rookie. And the captain happens to take a liking to you, and I guess you're the chosen one. And you go through, and it's a game where you can duel 2 weapons while you're facing your opponent, where you're fighting your opponents or whatever. The big thing about this game is the prologue. So slow. It's one of the slowest prologues I've played in a while. The captain has you meet his secretary or his girlfriend. I don't know which one it is. And she takes you to different areas to show you around the base. But she was like, follow me. And then she'll walk. You can't move. She'll walk over to the elevator and go up. Then you can walk to the elevator and move. It's very slow. That's the only big thing about that. You can customize different armors and come up with different weapons. So you go out to these different islands on this planet that you and your race of people came to find the origin stone. And the origin stone is going to help you save your people back at your planet, because your planet's dying. So you're going through collecting all these different items to help you progress along. The game is a pretty okay game. I liked it well enough. It's okay. Would I play it again? Yeah. If you like the art style, which is a very unique art style, the monochromatic tone of the game, I mean, it's not bad. On Steam, you got a 6 out of 10. I think that's a little low. And the cost was $119. And I'm going to give it a 3 Adrians. I think it's a pretty good game. So let's go ahead and add up what we got so far in this bundle. 911 Operator, $14.99. Hob, $19.99. Car Mechanic Simulator 2015, $19.99. Blood Fresh Supply, $9.99. And Original Journey, $119. Let's go ahead and add that up. The total is $66.15, which, I mean, we paid $4.99 for this bundle. I think we're getting a really good deal now so far. So next week we'll do the next 5 in the series. And yeah, that's it for today, guys. I know it's a little long one. Thank you guys for staying with me. I appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one.